the first thing that you will hear from any of your family members or any of your friends when you tell them that, okay, I am now a lawyer, is so I can now go and start looking for trouble. Because what they believe is that every lawyer that has studied law must end up in court. Every lawyer that has studied law must be going to court. But that is just a part of what a lawyer is expected to be doing. All right, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I will be talking to law students about the legal career paths that are available for you. Now, there is a misconception that lawyers, people that are studying law, must end up in court. In fact, this is something that everybody thinks. Whenever we see that somebody is studying law, we assume that that person would end up in the courtroom. That is why the first thing that you will hear from any of your family members or any of your friends when you tell them that, okay, I am now a lawyer, is so I can now go and start looking for trouble. Because what they believe is that every lawyer that has studied law must end up in court. Every lawyer that has studied law must be going to court. But that is just a part of what a lawyer is expected to be doing. It is just one of so many career paths that a lawyer can look at. Now, this is why I'm bringing this video. Now, this will be the first part of this video because there are a lot of career paths and it is not something that would be exhausted in one video. So we would start with the normal traditional legal path that you know. Number one is litigation, which is what I've just talked about. What is litigation? Now, litigation is the practice of representing clients. When all those ones that go to court, it is litigation that they are doing. And in order for you to practice as a lawyer, what are you expected to do? So if you are the kind of person that loves to litigate, if you are the kind of person that say, oh, I must do this litigation, I must go to court, what are you expected to do? What are you expected to have? What qualifications are you expected to have? What skill are you expected to have? So we'll start with the qualification. Of course, you would have studied law, you would have gone to Nigerian law school, and you would have been called to the Nigerian bar in order for you to practice law as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And for you to be a barrister and a solicitor means that you must have gone through Nigerian law school and gotten your BL certificate in addition to your LLB. So that is the qualification of when you want to go to court, when you are a kind of person that wants to go to court. So you must have your BL certificate. Now, that is the minimum requirement. Whether you want to do a master's in law in order to specialize in a particular kind of litigation is up to you. But the general requirement is just the Nigerian law school. Of course, go to university, then go to Nigerian law school. Now, what skill are you expected to have? Number one, which people misunderstand very so much, is that you must have drafting skills. I know the first thing you wanted me to say was you must have oratory skills. But because we are now living in the era of front loading, where you do all your arguments in your office, write it down and bring it to the court. Because most of the courts we have now are courts of record. So they don't expect you to come to the court and start making arguments and all that. You have to put it down. So your written advocacy, it's supposed to be top notch. Then, first and foremost, like I said, you must have to know how to write well, how to articulate your points well in writing. Second of all is now the oratory articulation. Because in as much as most of the courts or most of the higher courts are courts of record, there are still courts that would still require you to make your adumbrations, make your arguments, make your oral presentation and submissions. Even in the courts of record, when you are adopting your written address, or when you are adopting your final written address, you will be probably expected to make adumbrations, and that is where you have to showcase your oratory prowess. So you must have that skill. And how do you garner these skills? You are in the university. Very good. You have not started. What are you supposed to do? Join debating societies. Do your moot and mock competitions. Participate in moot and mock competitions. Answer questions in class. Now, when you answer questions in class, when you participate in debate competitions, when you participate in moot and mock trials, you build your confidence. You build your oratory prowess. You build your eloquence. When you answer questions in class, when you do your moot and mock trial, when you do debates, You learn how to think on your feet. That is the skill you need. Confidence, eloquence, composure. Under pressure, you are okay. You must start from your university to hone these skills, to garner these skills, if you want to be a very good litigation lawyer. Now, when you come out from the law school, of course, you have to attach yourself to a law firm. Considering the fact that they have passed into law the compulsory 2 years pupillage. So you must, it's not all those ones that will finish and come out and think that they have a lot of money in order to open their own law firm. Now, even if you have a lot of money to open your own law firm, you must attach yourself to a law firm for pupillage for 2 years in order for you to learn the practical aspect of law. And so when you come in, of course, you'll be inexperienced per se. You will grow through the ranks, and before you know it, you will get up to senior advocate of Nigeria. These are for people that want to go into litigation. So when are you expected to start your preparation? Start now. Now we move away from litigation. Like I said, it is not only litigation that lawyers do. We'll go into commercial and corporate practice. Now, I will explain commercial and corporate practice together with in-house counsel. Now, the reason I will explain it is because they need virtually the same kind of requirements. They need the same kind of skill. But I will now point out the difference between the two of them, commercial and corporate law on one side and in-house counsel on the other side. Note that these are career paths that you can go into. If you are not somebody that is cut out for coming to court and calling your fellow human being my lord, or your worship, or your honor. Of course, your honor is being called in the customary courts. So, if you are not this kind of person that like to call people my lord, you can be an in-house counsel. If you don't like the idea of being an in-house counsel, but you like corporate and commercial transactions, you can just be a corporate and commercial lawyer. Now, what are the similarities? Because, of course, we have to explain them together before diverging them, before diversifying. Okay, now, it is not necessary, listen to my words, it is not necessary to go to Nigerian law school to get a BL if you want to just be just a corporate and commercial lawyer. However, people have seen Nigerian law school as something that you must go, unless they will say that you are not a lawyer. So, for the purposes of what people will say, go to Nigerian law school. Because what Nigerian law school is for you to get to be qualified to be a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court, which means for litigation. However, because of the kind of society we live in, if you are done with university and you studied law and you don't go to Nigerian law school, they will think that you're not serious. So go to Nigerian law school. At least it's an additional qualification and additional qualification to you. Now, inside that Nigerian law school, there is a course known as corporate law practice. Give it your all. Don't just study it to pass it as exams. For exams, study it to know it. Because that is where you want your life to be focused on. That is where everything about you would be. Because you want to be a commercial lawyer, you want to be a corporate lawyer, you want to be an in-house counsel. Read and understand corporate law practice. When you now come out, you can specialize, you can do LLM, you can do masters in corporate law, you can do masters in economics, you can just specialize in order to have more knowledge than the average law graduate or lawyer in that field. Now, this particular area of law would be good for you if you're somebody that loves economics, you're somebody that loves finance, you're somebody that loves corporate law, not because of the money. Because I know most of you are saying, because of the money, I want to go to corporate law. There's money in litigation too. But if you are somebody that, first of all, you are passionate about corporate law practice, you are passionate about commercial transactions, you are passionate about business law, you can find yourself as a corporate and commercial lawyer or an in-house counsel. So what are now the difference? Because, of course, both for requirements and if you want to advance your studies, it's almost the same thing. What is now the difference? Now, as a commercial and corporate lawyer, you might attach yourself to a commercial and corporate law firm. Now, this law firm is a kind of law firm that they just help companies to do things. Oh, I've not even told you what corporate and commercial lawyers do. They help companies, like I'm talking about a firm now that you as a corporate and commercial lawyer would have to join. This is a firm that helps companies, different companies as clients. They have different companies as clients. They register companies. They, do the regulatory compliance. So most of these regulatory bodies, you must have to comply with most of the things that they are doing. So these firms are there to help the companies see to it that they are complying with these regulatory regulations. Because if they are not there and they don't advise these companies, the companies might enter into trouble. So most of the time, these companies go to these corporate and commercial law firms in order for them to help the companies know what is happening legally, in order for them to comply with everything that it's there to comply. So these firms, as a corporate and commercial lawyer, you can be in these firms helping the companies that are the clients to that firm in order to do whatever it is that a corporate lawyer does. Now, when you think you are so experienced, you can now open your own corporate and commercial law firm. Now, that is for corporate and commercial lawyer. Now, for an in-house counsel, remember, a corporate and commercial lawyer deals with so many companies. They are clients to this firm or to this person. But an in-house counsel is somebody that is inside the company. The company has now employed a lawyer inside their company in order to be handling these things that a corporate and commercial law firm will be doing. So while the corporate and commercial law firm is on its own, an in-house counsel is employed in the company. You say, I'm working for MTN. But you studied law now? Yes, I'm working as an in-house counsel in MTN. A lot of money, yeah. A lot of money. Yeah, oil and gas companies have in-house counsel. So it's not only just engineers that can work in an oil company. You as a lawyer can also work in an oil company. Banks employ lawyers in their banks. They pay them salaries just to make sure that legally they are up to date. So if you want to work in a bank as a lawyer, you can still work in a bank as a lawyer. Yes, that is that about those two. Now, another one I will go into is legislative drafting. Now, you know that most of our laws that we read, they say the legislature has made a law. Have you thought about who writes these laws that are being made? Of course, they are lawyers. And these are lawyers that are employed in the legislative arm of government. These are lawyers that are employed in the National Assembly, lawyers that are employed in the state's houses of assembly. So if you're not somebody that likes to go and call somebody my lord, if you're not somebody that likes to inundate yourself with a lot of commercial and corporate things and all that, regulatory compliance, you're just somebody that likes to write the law. You just like to write. You just like to read and write. Legislative drafting side is your own. So you can even further your studies. I think there is a particular institute, National Institute of Legislative Studies or something, that you can apply in order for you to get, requisite knowledge on how to do these draftings. And again, in your law school, take your draftings serious, especially when it concerns legislative and legal drafting in professional ethics and skills. So that at least when you take that one serious and you are very conversant and knowledgeable in that kind of drafting in that level, when you come out, you would at least from there, when you apply and they give you the work as a legislative draftsman, you can draft with the knowledge you've gotten from law school, pending when you can now advance your education in legislative drafting. So legislative drafting is if you're somebody that likes to draft, you're somebody that that piques interest in legal writing, legislative writing, how the laws are being presented. You like to read these laws. You like to, try as much as possible to critically examine the laws. This is something that you like. This is a place for you. So you now see that it's not every lawyer that will come out that will be in court. There are still other career paths. Like we have the AI. AI is now everywhere. It's emerging. Tech law. All this tech. See, let me just take it one after the other. as I've done this one, I will explain other career paths in the next video. In anytime I'll do it again, part 2. Let's say this one is part 1. And you would see that you must not be going to court. You must not be saying, hey, my lord, may you please, my lord, this one. There is also lawyers that are into content creation like myself. Of course, I do litigation, but I'm also into content creation. As a lawyer, I teach law. So you can also do that. Anyway, don't worry. There are a lot of things that I will be bringing to your knowledge so that you know that it's not only going to court that a lawyer is suited for. Until I come your way next time, I love you all.